quarters you will. Don't you think? You play a lot of merit.
Won't win the big games.
That's not the big ones, but you...
That's where we're going. So I appreciate your comments. I understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the cold reality of the game, where I thought, you know, we were very good against Collingwood for certainly the first half. We all saw that. And the third quarter, I thought we actually responded to Collingwood's coming at us, but then we just capitulated in the last. So that's where we've got to keep the heat on ourselves. The more close games and tougher games that we play, the better for this group.
You're not the first team to suffer that sort of final quarter belting from Collingwood. Is it a matter of fatigue, conditioning? You're traditionally very fit, powerful running team. But a lot of teams have suffered playing them in the last quarters, final quarters particularly. Well,
I mean, you've got to be really good at the contested part of the game to play Collingwood, and you've got to be able to sustain it. I mean, statistically, without mentioning all the numbers, guys, statistically in that area of the game, because they play a very strong contested game, and that's the way it's probably AFL footy's going that way. So, and we the beauty of us tonight or today was that we're able to show or demonstrate to our supporters that we've got a quality and a standard that we can get to, but we cannot sustain it like the Collingwood, Geelong, probably Hawthorn type teams at the moment. So that's why we push on. Is it a fitness thing? It can be. It's a tough way to play. So yeah, I mean, you can argue it's fatigue. We've got a lot of young guys at the moment in our side. 9, 10 guys in our side who are still less than 20 game players. So their capacity, as well as mentally, as well as physically, to keep going and to keep responding, is where we'll get our improvement from. So, a good experience, some really good footy, but in the end, it was a 7-goal loss.
So do you think it was more about your guys fading away than Collingwood lifting?
Well, I mean, I thought Collingwood was really strong, in the first half. I mean, only Mick would know whether he thought they were a bit better in the second half. So, I mean, have you interviewed him yet? Okay. And what do you think?
He thought, I suppose, he closed the gaps in terms of the stoppage. Just a few more of that.
Yeah.
I thought they'd worked hard.
Yeah. So I mean, they probably worked just as hard in the second half they did in the first. So based on Mick's comments, but in the end, they just overwhelmed us.
Obviously, from your point of view, there's some very good and very bad in the space of a couple of hours. What tack do you take with your players after a game like that?
Just explain exactly that. I mean, they've got to understand. That they can produce a brand of football that was, I thought, outstanding for a long period of time. But we also got to understand that we've still got a bit of a soft underbelly, for the real first of the contest, in a real tough contest. So, some real hope with what we're doing and the group that we're starting to assemble, but big reality check of where you're at.
It's obviously been a few airplay of the images of Taylor Walker from yesterday. What's your take on it?
Well, I need to get all the information first. I haven't seen it. Taylor was named as an emergency for this week, played Friday night. So my understanding, he was at the footy having a beer. I don't think he was intoxicated. I don't know if he was probably at home having a barbecue with his mate and had a beer. Wouldn't be an issue, would it?
Is it a symbolism thing?
Yeah, I think it's a perception, isn't it? Symbolism, perception.
Storming it.
At the moment, I mean, that's based. I haven't got all the facts on it, but I think that's probably the biggest. I would think that's probably the biggest issue. I mean, would you have a problem with a player having a beer a day after a game at a barbecue? No, but it's a slightly different environment, sitting in a. Yeah.
Is it also someone in Taylor's position where he's being heavily talked about as a target for another club? Then it becomes, people see it as very symbolic that perhaps he's got one foot out the door and not doing the things he should do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that hasn't. I mean, in fairness to Taylor, I mean, I can't question his attitude at our football club and his work ethic and what he's trying to really take on board the things that we're asking him to do. So no, I think that's probably unfair assessment of maybe what people would think. Yeah.
Do you have any more detail on why he's had the side?
Only what I've said in the Adelaide press. There's some areas of his game that need to be tidied up, and we played a game tonight, or this afternoon, which is a really important part that he will add to his game, and when he does, he'll be an outstanding player, and he's endeavouring to do that.
So just quickly, you'll obviously speak to him, but some people have jumped all over him. I mean, from your end at the moment, a bit of a storm in a teacup. Do you think we might have gone a bit too?
Well, as with the information that I have at the moment, I mean, you've probably answered the question yourselves, have you not? Do you think there's anything wrong with a guy having let's say, a beer after a game of footy on the next day? Unless we expect all our AFL players to be teetotalers, which I don't. I expect them to be responsible, but I certainly don't expect them to be teetotalers.
Have you asked him about the GWS thing, Neil, whether he's planning to go there next year?
No. We've got a lot of players uncontracted. Nathan Van Berlo's still uncontracted. We've got a lot of players. So it's always going to be that rumour innuendo about who is, who isn't. We've been through it with Nathan Bock. I mean, that'll unfold as time goes by. It puts a huge amount of pressure on players, just from speculation to start with. Still, the best policy for me is to be up front with your football club. If they feel capable to do that and feel safe enough to do it, then that puts everything to bed. Otherwise, it'll continue. As I think you got over here with some players, with the bit I read.
Thanks.
Okay.